Muhammad, also known as MUSAU MattmeachamJR. Most of my books.
This is real. Basically, when we look at the Western world,
I assume that I'm being recorded. This is MUSAU MattmeachamJR. Muhammad,
we have been cursed.
also known as MUSAU MattmeachamJR.
We have been cursed.
Most of my books,
the Western world,
I use the name MUSAU MattmeachamJR.
To accept
and I would suggest that you take time out, go to Amazon and just glance through some of the books that I've written.
Examine the type of ways that I've gone on the air broadcast. I find it quite interesting about myself.
This venture.
It's all an ego thing, and I don't like it. The next fellow, I have my ego, and the things we like to self-express ourselves, and who doesn't look in the mirror to see how am I doing or how am I looking? So I do that on occasion with my videos. Some of them I look at them and I say, wow, that I didn't like the way I looked. But what I try to do with my audience, those who subscribe to this channel, I get a few subscriptions out. I send out advertisements for on TikTok, and I get criticized. I've gotten responses into thousands of. I get thousands of viewers who check out some of the stuff that I put on TikTok. But when I look at the stuff that I do when I'm doing my YouTube show, when I'm talking to my audience, the most that I've ever seen that anybody's listened to about 50 people. So my following is not too great. My following is kind of slow. But sometimes I give a video and I check back and only 2 people. But I've gotten some videos that I've done
being a YouTuber
where I was actually speaking like I'm speaking.
And the thing is, even though I'm an old man, I am
about 30 people
looking into the
listening to what I have.
YouTube business.
Right now I have about 278 subscribers, which tells me that maybe about 100 people, are in different spots in the world, in different areas of the world. At least I got probably about 100 people who are probably interested in what I have to say. I think what I talk about, I think it's to the general public, to the Joe Blow, just to play it on me. I think he found it quite boring. I think the people who would actually tune in on my discussions are people who are, I think, since I consider myself a deep thinker who like to think about things, I don't think people are, when they go to YouTube, you have some people who are deep thinkers and some people that they're not thinking about thinking. Some people just want to be entertained, or some people just want to hear people say the same thing. They want to hear people who feel the same way about things as they do, and perhaps they want to get their opinion. Well, I think the unpopularity, which I can face it. I think the unpopularity that is with my channel is that I talk about issues of morality. And since basically, when we look at the Western world, in the Western world, see, the thing is, we have been cursed in the Western world. We have been cursed with the Western world, with the persuasion to accept sodomy. And I think what happens is, I guess when a person tunes in on my station or my YouTube station, they may like some of the things I say, but then when you get into the real issue, then I guess in a way that they get, it's something that they don't want to hear. I was working with a young man in Uganda, and what happened was I had just come from Rwanda, and I had met the young man way back, a couple of years back, and the things I indicated to him and a few other people who what we were trying to do is to incorporate an international corporation dealing with art and entertainment. So this young man, and I'm only using him, but as an example of how people are and what happens when they're actually, I got two cases that I'm going to talk about today. After I talk about the young man, I want to talk about a case that happened here in Nairobi just yesterday. It really was. I mean, I was really ticked off, but I wasn't. I wanted to talk about it yesterday, but the words wouldn't come. But so, I think I should be.
Sometimes I make mistakes. Of course, I will make mistakes, and I've looked at my previous videos, and I've seen that I've made mistakes in dates, times, and so forth. But as I indicated to my audience, I said that I would just everything that looked pretty good to me, I would publish, even though there were mistakes. So I'm in the beginning stage of installing my YouTube station. I'm going to try a few other things with my YouTube station. Right now, I have a special project that I will be dealing with at this point in time. Generally, I start off my day in Boston, Massachusetts, and that day starts with me catching a train to Providence, Rhode Island. And I've encountered an individual. She's a sick lady.
And when I first met her, and invited her to help me and this idea, this concept I had of an idea, and I had already allotted a very. He was in charge. I had him for a very responsible, profitable position. Okay, even when I talked to the young man, the first time that I met him, he told me he showed me his papers, told me he was an accountant, okay? And I said, I need an accountant. I'm trying to do an international, I'm basically interested in incorporating an international big company that would stretch out from Rwanda to Kenya. And he was trained to be an accountant. I said, why can't you, why can't you and I talk to you about being the chief accountant? And I had my business plan, everything was organized. I had talked to investors, I had talked to other people. I said, look, this is what I want to do. I had this idea about this corporation, and I have my people. And he was one of those people that I had. Now, when I approached him, or when we met, and then I began to talk to him about the corporation, I knew that he was a homosexual. I knew he was a homosexual when I talked to him. But look, that's between him and God, or whatever it is that makes him tick. That's between him and infinity, whatever. Only the qualifications that he presented to me, and my needing a person with his qualifications to help me with my corporate idea. This was over a year ago when I spoke to him, and we began to talk, and we were emailing the whole time when I was in the U.S. trying to find probably investors who could help me with this corporation. I knew that this young man was a homosexual when I first met him. Look, here I am, a 73-year-old man. Look, wait a minute. I mean, I've traveled the world. So even if you don't just say to me that let's say you're coming out, you come out. Well, you guys who are homosexual, you carry an aura. And I knew that the young man was a homosexual, but that was not my issue. That was his issue. That was the issue that he had to deal with however he dealt with it, whether with his religion or whatever it was. I wasn't concerned about that. What I was concerned was he is a human being who has a special talent, which I feel that can help me with my corporate idea. So, despite of the fact, okay, I reject sodomy, but I don't reject the human being. I reject sodomy. I think it's the utmost of wrongs for human beings to do. But the idea of sodomy, but then you got the idea of sodomy and the idea of the human being. So I say, I'm gonna call him. I'm not gonna use his real name. I'm gonna call him Joe. I'm saying, well, Joe. I said, what happened was, I brought two phones for him to use because basically he didn't have anything to work with, so I brought some phones to him that I brought to him from Rwanda where he could work with me when I'm abroad or when I'm not in Uganda. And I presented those phones to him. And the next day, when I was in Uganda and I met with him, he came up to me running, acting. He said, "Oh, they stole my phones. They stole my phones." I said, "Oh my goodness." I said, "Wait a minute. They stole your phones. How was someone steal your phones?" No, the reality is that no one stole his phones. The idea was that this young man was running a game on me. I said, "Oh my God," because something about being old. You get wisdom. And I said to him, "Bob, Joe," I said, "Look, I don't accept that. I mean, why did you come to me and tell me that someone stole the phones when we know that they didn't steal the phones? It's something that's going on between you and some other individuals." And I said, "Just present one of the phones to me so that we can continue with our business discussion." So he maintained that someone had stolen the phones. But I knew that no one had stolen the phones, that the young man was actually playing a game on me. So it makes me, this whole thing about ethics and morality. You're probably saying, how do I know? How do I know? I know. It's just like there was an incident here in Nairobi yesterday. I went to M-Pesa. I had started a transaction, and the transaction was forfeited. And so what happened was that meant that the money that I had presented where the transaction started, then the money was supposed to have been refunded to me. My phone indicated where the money was, and I went to M-Pesa and I said, "Look, my money's right here. Can I get my refund since the money everything shows it?" And on my phone it said, "Confirm. The money has been received at M-Pesa." And it even gave me, did I give you the number and everything and the time? And I'm saying, the agent, when I went to the M-Pesa agent, and I said, can you see that M-Pesa has the money? And would you refund it? And here you are, you're looking at facts. And we do it all the time, human beings. We're looking at the facts. Yet we see the facts right in front of our eyes. Yet we deny that it is a fact. They say the sky is red, but we look up in the eye, and then we see the sky is blue. And some of us, the sky is blue, but no. You can look in the sky, and the sky can be red, depending on where your mind is at, and what is your idea And what is your idea of right and wrong? In other words, I'm saying it's interesting how we can, human beings, the truth can be looking us right in the face, standing right in front of us. Yet we will disclaim the truth. We will deny the truth when it's standing right in front of us. What is the truth? This is MUSAU MattmeachamJR signing off in Nairobi, Kenya.
She harasses me every single morning at South Station in Boston. So the thing is, I know that she sleeps there. I know that she's homeless. I know that she has issues. But then there's another issue that I'm concerned about. Oh, hello. So, Matt,